Good morning, good morning. You already know who it is, target individual CJBK. It is it's Wednesday, June, I think the 26th, June 28th actually. I'm way off. 3:16 a.m. Made my birthday, 3:16. So, yeah, they've basically, they being the gang stalkers and secret society um, of America or the world or just New York City, um, they've basically uh, claimed that they're going to intensify whatever tactics that they're doing because um, apparently I'm too powerful. Apparently I'm too spiritual. Apparently I'm too um, strong. You know, I don't know. They say I have a lot of emotional energy. You know, the only reason I'm probably still alive is because I have a lot of emotional energy. You know, science would call it emotional energy. I say it's the armor of God for the most part. You know, it's the unconditional, the un you know tethered truth, the un you know it's the foundational truth that I stand on. It's knowing that, like, you know humility, humbleness, accountability. They're attacking me because, hell, there are some things where I'll just say, you know what, nah, that's just wrong. I'm one of those people that actually have a limit where I'm just like, no, that shit is just actually wrong. That's just wrong. You know, but none of them have that consciousness. None of them have that consciousness. You know, because if they did, we wouldn't have as much of the things and that's going on, the crimes and the traumas and the violence and the over sexualizations and things of that sort. We wouldn't have the pedophile rings, the drug rings, the sex rings, the human trafficking rings. We wouldn't have any of that if they actually had the same type of moral fiber as I did. But you know what? People got to get paid, right? People got to get paid. So because I'm relentless about making sure I try to do my best with being right by God to some capacity. They're going to hit me with just about everything they got. The only thing I haven't really begun, experiencing that a lot of other TIs experience is a lot of, even if people are gaslighting me in the street, I hardly ever give it that much energy. But I haven't really been having people come up to me and do things or whatever. I don't know. Most probably because that tactic, I would be expecting that tactic. I'm expecting that tactic almost every day. And then even if it does happen, I don't really give it any real power or attention. You know, the moment somebody does something that just seems odd, I just say out loud, programming. Like, I look at it and I'm like, that's programming. If you get V2K and you get like intrusive thoughts or things that are disruptive that enter your mind, just look at it and be like, programming. Anytime you hear them repeating things in your mind, or they're trying to, get you to feel fear, or, if your handlers or anything like the ones who hacked mine or hacked me, they're like, oh, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be doing this. Programming. Everything they do is basically to reprogram your mind against who you want to be. Because you also got to remember that, um, not as human beings by flesh, but we are light energy beings, which are made in of the by the image, or made from the image of God, which also means that we also are creators. We also have the ability to create. We also have the very same stuff that's in us that help create much of what's in our universe, in our galaxy. We are made of many of the same components and stuff. And one thing that I've been learning is that the brain can continuously still be restructured and or reconfigured. So whenever they're doing these repetitive things to you, they're basically trying to reconstruct your brain or reconstruct your personality or reconstruct who you are. They're trying to change things about you by repetitive stress and repetitive traumas and things like that. So what they're doing to me, especially like right now, and I can feel much of the frequencies that they're using. So like in my back, like towards the back, like right here. Let me see. Yeah, like right here with my right here. There's a frequency, and the beam itself is probably no thicker than that. Let me see, where's the camera? Yeah, the beam itself is probably no thicker than that, and it's a very fast pulse, and it's going right into my kidney, right? That's one. Or it could be the lung. It might be the lung. It's either the kidney or the lung. And it's a very, very sharp, it's like a very, very fast pulse. And it's going right into like my kidney or my lung. Yeah, it's probably the lung, because every time I take a deep breath, I feel that sharp pain in that one spot. And then you see how I got my palm open and where my index, see where my index and my thumb is at? While where they're at, and they're like closed like this, because I still have the frequency in between my thumb and my index finger. When I lock down on it, I can feel the pulse of the frequency going through my index finger and thumb. Even though I still have it in my hand, it's still pulsing in between my hand, and then it's going back around over my shoulder and into the back. So the source of where it's coming from, well, I have my laptop here. So that's one source, because as I move my hand over, and I still have the frequency in my hand, I still have it in my hand. As I move my hand over the laptop, I can feel the interaction of the frequency. I can feel it, pulsing even more. Like the pulse is even more noticeable. Now, is this the source of where it's coming from? It could be, because I wasn't feeling this sharp pain until like maybe a few minutes ago. But yeah, so like it's this whole, because remember the laptop itself, it has an electromagnetic field, or electromagnetic radiation emitting from it as well, because of the battery. The battery has a charge. Anything that has a charge, it gives off it gives off electromagnetic radiation. So the laptop is one source. This remote is one source because of the batteries, the actual battery that's in the remote. The TV could be a source. I let it go now, but I can always like this. So like here, there's a frequency going in here, right? I would do like this. I would use my right hand, and I would wait till I feel like tinglings. Whenever I feel the tingling, and I would get my index finger or thumb, get my index finger and thumb to be right where, so like, you see this part? I would use that part to indicate where the beam is at. And then once I feel the beam touch that part of my hand, I would move back a little bit and then I would clamp down. Once I clamp down, that's when I feel the pulse of the frequency going in between that area. So right now I have the frequency. The reason I know I have the frequency is because I know that you can actually create palpable objects using ultrasound. I've read the documents, I've seen the videos, I've seen the demonstration. You can basically make ultrasound into something that you can feel, like, how they have holograms where you can actually hold it and you can mold it, do whatever, reshape it or whatever, because the ultrasounds are actually interacting with the nerves. So or rather the vibrations of the sounds are interacting with the nerves. Now what they're doing, I believe, is they're using that same that same ultrasound, or maybe it's the light vibe. It's like the energy from light photons or whatever, that's basically given the waves its power so that it can be able to I guess throw the energy levels of the cells out of whack, or to cause the cells to vibrate so hard that you experience pain. But anyway, yeah, all of these different frequencies, you can actually grab them, you can feel them. Even whenever you get those weird high-pitched heterodyne sounds, you can even grab those frequencies too. The moment you feel that high-pitched sound, just take your fingers, right? Like right now, it just came in my left ear. What I would do is I'd just be like this, and I would pinch. I would pinch in front of my ear, and when I pinch hard like that and I move away, I could literally feel the pressure in my ear. I could feel the pressure in my ear decrease, and then the further away I pull it, the further away I pull that frequency away from my head, then I feel pressure in my head decrease. Yeah, like I say, I'm trying everything I can to just let everything that I know be out there, so then people can at least try out what I've been experiencing, or just learn from my experience. These Luciferians, man, they're being rewarded for their evil, luckily for those of us who read, scriptures, or whatever, religion that you have. I'm pretty sure they teach you about, there are beings or people of the world who will be tempted and rewarded for doing things that'll go against their own spiritual existence, because everything that we do in our flesh, it has an effect on our spiritual lives, because once we leave our flesh, we still have to live out our spiritual life, because energy cannot be destroyed, and every time somebody, does cause some harm to someone, and possibly something don't happen to them, in their flesh body or whatever, maybe not right away, or 5 days later, or 3 months later, or even 5 years later, at some point, all chickens must come home to roost, so it's like, because we're seeing so much that's happening to humanity right now, and it just seems like not enough bad people are getting what they deserve, that just lets you know there's a backup. There is a backup of karmic energy waiting to just collapse down on all of humanity. Like the karmic energy that's waiting to collapse down on humanity is like a souffle. It's like the devil is trying to make this souffle, and it's like the devil is trying to make this souffle, and all of the negative energies is just blooming into this beautiful, beautiful souffle. It's just blooming and blooming in the oven. And you turn on the light in the oven and you're watching all this turmoil. You're watching everybody turn on their family. The devil's watching everybody turn on their friends. The devil's watching everybody, turn on the less fortunate. Or the devil's watching, all the adults basically corrupt children. The devil's watching. The devil is having fun. The devil, Lucifer himself, is like going, and jumping for joy because there's so many corrupted souls in this world. The beast is about to have a whole buffet on all these people, and I know I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person at all, and I barely even do bad things to other people. If anything, I do more harm to myself than I do to other people. I would rather cause more harm to myself than to cause harm to someone else. That's the difference between me and them. I would rather cause harm to myself than inflict harm on someone else, especially someone who hasn't done anything to me, But anyway, yeah, so being able to feel your frequencies, it is capable. It's more than capable for everyone to be able to do this. What else? Yeah, I'm trying to fill out an application for an apartment, for me and my girlfriend to be in. And I'm not even gonna lie though. Not only because of the V2K have been hinting or really, just putting a lot of verbal doubts in the mind, Chris, you have no idea. And the whole city is watching you. Everybody know you snitching on secret society. Nobody wants you around. Da, da, da. Then I'm thinking about how I was basically kind of I would say I was maybe, I can't say it was coercion because it was still my choice to take that apartment. But I know my last apartment, it was definitely a setup. It was definitely a setup. Cause I remember telling that guy I shouldn't take this apartment because it just didn't seem financially reasonable for me to take the apartment, But the guy was so adamant about me taking this apartment, and then on top of that, he was like, he was hitting on me and everything because he was gay, and he was hitting on me and shit, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I just want to get the apartment, even though I don't necessarily think I can afford the apartment, and he was so adamant about me getting that apartment. Then all of a sudden, when I get the apartment, little do I know, there is a whole community of secret society people watching the tenants of this building, and because little did I know that there was that whole building had its own Wi-Fi connection that I didn't even know about. So that's probably how they were brain mapping me, because the whole building had a Wi-Fi running through the whole thing. I think, in matter of fact, I think each apartment had a Wi-Fi router built inside of it. Whether you was using it or not, there was a Wi-Fi router in each apartment. So I'm thinking to myself, they were brain mapping just about every single person that's in that apartment. They're brain mapping every single person that's in that building. And I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I was definitely set up. And then they figured that they'll intimidate me, that they were going to intimidate me. They were going to do whatever. But luckily for me, I grew up with the type of mother that I grew up with. So I called on Jesus when I realized something wasn't right. And the moment I called on Jesus, that's when all the truth started to just unfold before my eyes. And I realized there's real occults, Luciferianism, and secret societies. They are very real. They do not give any damn about human life. They do not care about anyone's feelings or privacy or whatever. All they care about is control and dominance. Control and dominance. Control, dominance, and, well, entertainment, because they get entertainment off of, the people that they control. So while they're basically messing with my frequencies, yeah, and they're trying to, and I'm still holding on to that same frequency I had grabbed on earlier, then I also want people to realize too, when you grab one frequency, right? If you grab one, you can move your hand around your body and make sure you do it like about a foot away from your body. And you will feel, as you're holding one frequency, you will feel your hand actually, you'll feel a lot of activity, like a lot of tingling in your hand. I believe what you're doing while you're holding one is you're also taking that frequency and you're collecting. I think you're absorbing other frequencies that are basically attached to different parts of your aura. Because remember, your aura, the energy that's emitted, the radiation, the light energy that's emitted from your body, it creates an aura. Like the sun has an aura around it. You give off an aura, and within your aura there are frequencies. There is the light that is being emitted from your body. It can be measured in frequencies. So what they're doing is they're basically taking sensors. They're taking sensors that basically reads the numerical energy value of within the different parts of your aura. And then once they find that resonant frequency, so let's say right here is like, I don't know, 3 hertz. I don't know. Let's say right here, like 3 hertz. Like 3 hertz, 47, 83, whatever, What they'll do is they will send they will see that it's 3 hertz, right? They'll take the sensor, they'll see that it's 3 hertz. Then what they would do, they would transmit, I think they would basically transmit 3 hertz as well. Your body's giving off 3 hertz. They're going to transmit 3 hertz. Boom. Then it's going to basically create a link. Once that link is created and established, then what they'll do is from their end, they're going to modulate, or they're going to increase the intensity or power of the energy coming from their transmission. So then when the energy coming from their transmission is tuned to be more powerful, then it's going to create it's going to basically throw off the power levels that's coming from your transmission, or your signal going out. So yeah, that's basically what they're doing there. They're matching our frequencies, and then they're tuning the intensity or power behind theirs, which would throw our energies off. I don't know. I think y'all would probably understand what I'm saying. I mean, if y'all have been reading up on resonant frequency, then you would probably know what I'm talking about. But they threaten about how, oh, I'll probably never get another job. Like, once I lose the job I have, I'll probably never get another job, or I'm probably never going to be able to get an apartment, or I'm probably never going to be able to, do anything. They're always telling me, Chris, you by yourself. Nobody's going to help you. You by yourself. And I'm like, well, good thing we got TIs, and good thing we got, the angels that are here on this planet that God has sent down to, like, kind of keep a watchful eye on some of us. Not everybody is going to have angels looking out for them. So, 'cause some people were born to just already be gone. Their whole existence for still being alive is basically to probably just strengthen people like us. We're put on this earth to be, producers of high vibrational energy, but we also have to be tested because, we can't just have it all good. We gotta be tested at some point. We gotta, our defenses have to be tested. Our will and our focus has to be tested, just so, just like everybody else in the Bible, who were righteous and they were all tested too, we got to be tested too. God never promised us a life without any pain or anything that we're going through. God never promised us any of that. Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, they're just like, they're continuously, it's painful, but you know what? You just have to get used to the pain until you do something else. You have to get used to the pain until you can figure something out. So as far as dealing with the frequency of what things I can do to try to get rid of, like, make it more manageable, the pain. I noticed that I've been doing this for months now, or probably a couple of years now, where these are basically neodymium magnets that are taped together. This is Kapton tape. I'm not sure if that really matters, or what type of tape you use matters. But neodymium magnets taped so that they're repelling each other. Yeah, they have a lot of frequencies going on right now. They got one on my I think it's like my lung, one on my heart, one right here. That one's always there. That's the one that's connected to the memory, because they're constantly getting a feed of my memory. They basically have control over what memories I can recall, what I can't recall. They're basically controlling the neurons. They're controlling the neurons in my brain. So whatever things I cannot remember, they're basically causing that. Then there's a frequency. Yeah, because I know I can always find it, because there's an indent in the skull where that frequency is at. There's one that's here that goes to I believe that's the primary motor cortex. Then there's one frequency that kind of, then there's one frequency that goes right down through the crown of the skull, and I believe that's the one that's connected to the pineal gland. Then there's a lot of like this much. It feels like there's a light that's basically penetrating on or a lot of activity right here. It's this big, it's this much, right? And it's going in here, but then it's like, it goes straight through to the center of the brain. But then I also feel some interaction that kind of comes to the side, and it's like something here too. So there's insertion points in different parts of the body. But as far as, like I said, with in the magnet, I realized that a lot of times I try to see if that tape's not gonna help. Yeah, that tape's already coming off. Um, yeah. Then I also realized that over time, um, the Kapton tape. Um, I realized over time the Kapton tape was actually it was actually making the scars from the frequencies a lot more noticeable, because I realized they can change the depth of the frequency, so that if they wanted to burn you under the skin but not leave a mark, that's something in the modulation that they do on their end. But if you wanted to actually reveal it, I realized that if you were to take Kapton tape, well, I don't know if it's any tape that could help, but I noticed with Kapton tape, if you place it on the skin near the area where they're attacking, right? If you place it on the skin near the area where they're attacking, over time you will eventually see, you will start to see scarring. The scarring, I believe, is coming from the I think the tape does something. The tape is doing something to the tape is doing something to the particles that's going into the body. And then I think when it passed through the particles, and then the tape is stuck to the skin, the particles go through. I think what happens, something wrong happens to the energy or to the light, and then next thing you know, the more surface, the outer layer of the skin is now starting to show scarring. Because a lot of times for some TIs is when they're attacking the body, it's mostly under the skin. You would never really see too many of the marks. They will be under the skin. But when I place the Kapton tape on top of the skin where they're attacking, it then shows the scarring after the attacks. It would show the scarring. Yeah, I'm trying to find my documents so I can fill out this application. My girlfriend, she wants to move out of her current situation so bad, and me, I done learned from experience that you don't rush into any apartment. You don't rush into nothing these days, especially as a TI. As as much as I would want to really be excited and hopeful and things like that, I have to be very, very cautious, because I'm not trying to get set up into another apartment again. And I'm being weary of anybody who's very, very I don't know. If you're more excited about a process, about me going through a process than I am, and I'm the one who's supposed to go through the process, but you're more excited than me, I'm gonna take that as a hint and a half, because I feel like I feel like I feel like you up to something. And knowing that we're targeted and everything, it's like you gotta acknowledge that. You can't ignore that. You gotta acknowledge that. It's because they could be setting you up. Why are you more excited than I am, and I'm the one that's trying to get the apartment? That's that. Look, that's some weird stuff for me. Like, for me, it's like, now I already know what to expect. It's like, because they all trying to find some way to get you lined up. And there's a lot of money involved in getting people lined up. Everybody's trying to find a way to try to see how long they can live on this planet, not realizing, fool, you can't control how you live on this planet, because when God when your time is up, your time is up, and ain't nothing you could do to stop it. You know. But anyway, yeah, I think that's it for now. Just letting you know what I'm going through, what I'm experiencing. Um, I just grabbed another frequency, and it's like it's just, yeah, it's just very, it's a lot of energy, you know, and I know they're basically coming after my flesh, but that's all they can do is come after my flesh. At the end of the day, they're going to suffocate from all the energy that's going to be coming after them. Everything that they have acquired, it's not going to help them in any way. All of the material things, all of the money, all of the so-called knowledge that they acquired, it's not going to help them. That's only the aesthetics. You know, they're doing they're doing plastic surgery. I'm doing I'm doing I'm doing a spiritual reconstruction. They're doing plastic surgery. I'm doing spiritual reconstruction. You know, I'm fixing myself in ways that they probably would never really be able to understand because they're all logic. They're all artificial intelligence, you know. They don't believe in the soul and spirit and stuff like that. They'd rather be controlled by a computer than to actually control themselves, you know. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and try to keep going with, you know, doing what I gotta do, because I don't want it to just, you know, I don't want her to feel like I ain't trying to help her get there. But I mean, even though I don't necessarily want to pay $1,400 for a studio, but she's so excited. You know, so me personally, I would not pay $1,400 for a studio, but you know, I'm willing to work with her, and if she wants to do it, then I'm gonna help her do it. But I just I make sure I remind her. I'm like, all right, if we actually get this place, just know that if something better comes along, we can't just break this lease because something better comes along, you know. So, but yeah, all right. Take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.